Hi children, today we are going to start the fourth chapter, that is heat. Okay, so in the third chapter we have all learnt about the woolen clothes that are made from the animal fiber. We also have learnt about the cotton clothes that are made from plant fiber. We wear different types of woolen clothes during winter when it is very cold outside. So woolen clothes, why? Because they keeps us warm. We prefer to wear light colored clothes during the hot summer season, because this light color clothes, they just reflect the heat of the sun. Okay, so in winter we feel cold inside the house, and if we come out of the house and we just stand under the sun, we will feel hot. So how we know whether an object is hot or cold? How do you find out how hot or cold an object is? In this chapter we are going to read about all about this. So for starting that chapter we should know a key terms, few terms that are very important. So what are they? First of all, we have to read about, that is, what is actually heat is. So what is heat? Heat, it is generally a form of energy. Okay, so when a hot object and a cold object comes in contact with each other, what happens? A type of energy flows from a hot object to colder one, and this energy is known as heat energy. It has a unit. The unit of heat energy is explained as joule, and calorie is the older metric unit of heat. So what is it? It is a form of energy. And how it flows? It flows from a hotter body to a colder body. Always when we will see that heat will flow from hotter body to a colder body. So how can we measure this amount of heat? Suppose I have given you two buckets of water. One bucket is hot water, having hot water, and the other bucket is having cold water. So by touching the two water with your hand, you are supposed to feel that yes, this water is hot and this water is cold. But what is or how much heat is present in that water, or how much heat is not present in the cold water? How can we determine this? We cannot determine this by our sense organs. For that, we have to do some other thing. So for that, we have to know about temperature. So what is temperature, children? Temperature, temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. It is called temperature. So what is it? That if a body is hot, so temperature will denote how or what amount of heat is present in it, and whether when the object is cold, it will say that what is the minimum amount of heat present in it. But still there is a problem that we have to measure it. So how we have to measure? We can have some instrument for measuring the temperature, that is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. For that we use an instrument that is called thermometer. So for measurement of temperature we use thermometer. Before that, you should know that the SI unit of temperature is known as Kelvin. So now I will be giving you some important points. In order to measure the temperature of a body, we need a reference scale. That is, reference to that scale of temperature, we just measure the temperature of any object. A reference scale with which temperatures can be measured is called the scale of temperature. Okay. Since temperature is relative measurement, it is a relative measurement, that is how hot or how cold, it is relative. We can compare. A scale of temperature must be devised based on the fixed references. There should be some range, fixed range in that measurement instrument. What are they? There are two fixed references. What are they? In a thermometer, there is an upper point, that is called the upper range, uppermost point of the range, that is called the upper fixed point, and there is a lowermost range of the range, that is known as lower fixed point. Okay. The melting point of pure ice. Do you know the melting point of pure ice? At standard pressure is regarded as the lower fixed point, and similarly the boiling point of pure water at standard pressure is known as upper fixed point. What is the boiling point of standard water? That is at 100 degrees Celsius. And what is the temperature of the melting point of ice? It is 0 degrees Celsius. So that much you should remember. Okay. We have also learnt about that there are different types of thermometers are there. What are the different types of thermometer we have read? Generally, three types of thermometers we have read. They are clinical thermometer, laboratory thermometer, and a maximum and minimum thermometer. What is clinical thermometer? Clinical thermometer is a thermometer that is used for measuring the temperature of the body of human being. It is having a definite range. What is the range in Celsius? It is from 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is the range of the temperature that or the scale that is present in the clinical thermometer. Above or below this range, we cannot detect any kind of temperature in the clinical thermometer. Okay, the second one that we have read, the second thermometer, that is called the laboratory thermometer. What is that? The laboratory thermometer is the thermometer that is used to take the temperature of all the reactions that are taking place in the lab. All the reactions, it may be of water, it may be of other chemical solutions that are taking place in a chemical reaction. So you know that a chemical reaction may be producing enormous number of heat, or it can absorb enormous number of heat. So what will happen? It is having a wide range, and in case of laboratory thermometer, the range is minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius, that you should know. And in case of the clinical thermometer, there is a normal body temperature. In case of Celsius, it is about 37 degrees Celsius, and in other scale there is one more scale that is called the Fahrenheit scale. There the normal body temperature is about 98.4 degrees Celsius. One more thermometer I talked to you about, that is about the minimum and the maximum thermometer. What is the function of this minimum and maximum thermometer? The minimum and the maximum temperature of the previous day reported in the weather reports, they are actually measured by this type of thermometer, which is known as minimum and maximum thermometer. Okay, so we should focus on the clinical thermometer. The clinical thermometers, it is mainly made up of glass, and nowadays you can find a digital one also. But if we talk about the previous type of thermometer, we will see in the glass thermometer there is a bulb, and the bulb contains a liquid metal. What is the liquid metal called? The liquid metal is mercury, and due to its definite properties, useful properties, this mercury has been used in the thermometer as a thermometric liquid. So why? The reasons I have just given you. That is, the reasons for using mercury as a thermometric liquid are as follows. Mercury has uniform contraction and expansion, so it is very sensitive, and each and every time with the same slightest change in temperature, the expansion or the contraction will be the same. So mercury is very useful as a thermometric liquid. Mercury also does not stick to the side or the walls of the capillary tube. So the thermometer, you actually know there is a bulb and there is a thick tube is there, and here the mercury is present, and the mercury, if we put the bulb end in our mouth or in the armpit, the mercury level will rise in the capillary tube. Okay, so what happens? But this mercury, while it rising and while the level is getting decreased, there is no sticking of the mercury to the wall of the thermometer. So that is why also mercury is used as a thermometric liquid, and it does helps in recording accurate temperature. Mercury is opaque and shining. It is very opaque, that is light cannot pass, and it is shiny, and it is a grayish liquid, and thus it can be easily seen as a fine thread in the capillary tube. So it helps us to see the reading properly. If mercury is transparent, then what will happen? We cannot detect that at which level the mercury has risen, and we cannot even detect the temperature. So as a result of this property of shiny, grey and opaqueness, mercury is used. Mercury on the other hand has a high boiling point, that is at 257 degrees Celsius, and low melting point, that is minus 39 degrees Celsius. So it can be used to measure and only wide range of temperatures. So these are all the reasons for using mercury as a thermometric liquid. Okay. So now we are going to see that the thermometers that we have discussed, that is clinical thermometer, laboratory thermometer, what are the precautions that we should take while using this type of thermometers? First of all, we'll read about clinical one. So what are the precautions? The thermometer should be washed before and after use perfectly with antiseptic solution. So while you are visiting or you are going to the doctors for your checkup, or you are having fever, so doctor will obviously check your temperature. So what will happen? The doctor will just put the thermometer either in your mouth or inside your armpit. So he or she may even have checked the temperature of some other patient. So what is that? There may be some infections, there may be some germs that can stick on the thermometer. So before and after use, we should sanitize, or we should preferably use some antiseptic solutions to clean the thermometer. That is the first one. Second one, the thermometer should be read keeping the mercury along the eye side. That should be just parallel to our eye, so that there will be no error in the reading. We can have a proper reading by seeing through the mercury level. Third one, it should be handled with care, because the earlier clinical thermometers are made up of glasses. So it is very brittle. It with a slight carelessness, it will just drop down and may get broken, may get damaged. And mercury is also toxic inside, and it may lead to some rashes also. So it should be handled with care. Next, the fourth one, the bulb of the thermometer should not be touched while reading. Hold the thermometer by the glass body. So we have to hold the thermometer while using, we have to hold the thermometer in the glass body. Suppose you have just put the thermometer in the armpit of the patient, and you have just, mercury has risen to the appropriate temperature or your body temperature, and then if you just take it out, the thermometer, and hold it on the bulb side, what will happen? There is body heat that will flow from your fingers into the mercury, and it may expand more, giving a error, giving a much more larger reading. So we should not hold it by the bulb, we should hold it by the glass body. Last one is that it should be ensured that before use the mercury level is below 35 degrees Celsius in Celsius scale and below 95 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit scale. But how we can do? We can do by giving the thermometer a few jerk. So by giving jerk, we can just take down the reading of the thermometer below 35 degrees Celsius or below 95 degree Fahrenheit. These are the two scales that may be present on the screen of the thermometer. Both these scales are present. On one side there is Fahrenheit scale, and on the other hand there is a Celsius scale. So I think you have understood about the precautions that is taken while using clinical thermometer. Now we are going to read about laboratory thermometer and what are the precautions. I have told you about the range of the laboratory thermometer and what are the precautions. We have to handle the thermometer with care because again it is made up of glass. Do not hold the thermometer by the bulb similarly as that of the clinical thermometer, and the thermometer should be kept upright, not tilted. Okay. Bulb should not touch the surface of the container. So while taking the reading, the thermometer should be vertical. You can see this is a beaker and the thermometer should be at 90 degree with the base. But the bulb below should not touch the bottom, or it should not touch the outer boundary of the beaker. That may again give rise to a false reading, an error. So we should be very, very careful. And we should not touch the bulb again. That is the same reason, that is it may give error. Fourth one is that removing the thermometer from the boiling water bath and immediately immersing it in ice bath may cause the thermometer to break. So we should not put the thermometer immediately into the ice bath, because the uneven, that is the abrupt expansion and contraction may break the glass bulb and the thermometer may get damaged. So we should prevent it from putting it into a ice bath. One more thing, that is the thermometer should be, the reading of the laboratory thermometer should be taken while the bulb is kept inside the bulb, because in case of laboratory thermometer there is no kink, there is no bending in the capillary tube. As a result, as soon as we are taking out the thermometer from the liquid, the mercury level will drop down as the temperature drops. Again, in case of clinical thermometer, there is a kink, there is a bending. You know, if it is the bulb of the thermometer and if it is the glass body. So if there is mercury, then in the mercury tube, in case of the clinical thermometer, there is a bending. It is known as kink. Due to this kink, K-I-N-K, kink. Due to this kink, what happens? The mercury level doesn't go below. It remains as we take it out from our mouth or armpit. This should be kept in mind. But in case of laboratory thermometer, there is no such kink. So as soon as we are taking out the thermometer from the liquid or the reaction fluid solution, it will just go down. Next, we are going to read about the different scales of temperature. So there are three fixed different scales of temperature. One is the Celsius scale. Next it is Fahrenheit scale, and one I have just discussed, that is the Kelvin scale, that is the SI unit. So all of you can see there is a bath that is having ice cold water, and there are three different thermometers having three different scale. First of one, it is a Fahrenheit scale, second is the Celsius scale, and third one is in the Kelvin scale. You can see the 0 degree of Celsius scale coincides with 32 degree of Fahrenheit scale, and the 0 degree of Celsius scale coincides with the 273.15, or approximately we can take it as 273 Kelvin. So the freezing point of ice in case of the three thermometers varies, whereas in case of Celsius it is 0 degree, in case of Fahrenheit it is 32 degree, in case of Kelvin it is 273 degree, and like that the upper fixed point, that is 100 degrees Celsius, in case of Celsius scale will be equivalent to 373.15, or approximately 373 Kelvin in Kelvin scale, and 212 degree Fahrenheit in case of Fahrenheit scale. So based upon these three scales of temperature, we can find out the relationship between these three scales. So you should remember in this class about the relationship. So what are the relationship that we can make out? That is, when you are changing Fahrenheit scale to Celsius scale, what is the formula that we use? That is C. C means Celsius is equals to 5/9 into F minus 32. In case of we changing Celsius to Fahrenheit scale, we are taking the conversion as the formula as algebraic formula as F, that is Fahrenheit, equals to 9/5 into C plus 32. And while you are changing Celsius to Kelvin, we are just adding up to 73, as because we have seen that 0 degree of Celsius is coinciding with 273 degree of Kelvin. So we have to add it. Add 273 degree with Celsius, and Kelvin to Celsius just the reverse, we have to subtract from Kelvin. What we have to subtract? 273. So based on this formula I have given you some problems, numericals. First one is that convert the absolute zero of temperature, that is absolute zero means this is minus 273.15 is known as absolute zero, to Fahrenheit. We have to change this degree Celsius to degree Fahrenheit. So which formula we should take? We should take the second formula, because we have to change to Fahrenheit. We don't know the scale or reading of the scale in Fahrenheit. So we are going to take this second formula, that is F equals to 9/5 into C plus 32. By solving we can see we are getting that result of approximately minus 459.67, or we can write it as minus 460 degree Fahrenheit. Second problem I have given you, determine the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit that would translate into the same value in Celsius. So here in this condition it has been asked that what is the condition or at what degree both the Celsius and the Fahrenheit scale will show the same reading. So here what is the condition? The condition is that Celsius or C equals to the F, that is the reading of Celsius scale is equals to Fahrenheit. So this is the condition. So we can take whichever of the formula, that is 1 or 2, anything. C equals to 5/9 into F minus 32, we can replace F by C, or we can take the second formula, that is F equals to 9/5 into C plus 32, we can replace C by F. So if we get C, then F is also known. So we can take F, and the result by solving we will get it as minus 40 degree Fahrenheit. So at minus 40 degree, in case of both Fahrenheit scale and Celsius scale, the reading will be same. The last one is that to convert 0 degree to Celsius, 0 degree Fahrenheit to degree Celsius. So here Celsius is not known, we know the reading in Fahrenheit. So Celsius should be in the left hand side of the equation, and we will take the formula as equals to 5/9 into F minus 32, and solving we will get the result, that is minus 17.78 degrees Celsius. So in today's lesson, what we have learned that what is heat, that is a form of energy, what is temperature, that is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. How we can measure it? We can measure it by an instrument called thermometer. What are the different types of thermometer? That is, we can say there are 3 types: maximum and minimum, clinical thermometer, and laboratory thermometer. And we have seen 3 different scales of temperature, that is Celsius scale, Kelvin scale, and Fahrenheit scale, and we have also got some relationship between them. Okay, so for today, thank you.